Hello everyone, this is Angel Esquivel here. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking movies from May 2026, worst to best. So, without further ado, let's get to the rankings. May 2026 is got to be like the best month of 2025, 2026. Forgot, my mind was somewhere else so far. But then again, every month is never safe from any worst movies out there. So, but speaking of worst movies, on this list, number 13 goes to Passenger. Like, there's not really to say much about this other than just a generic horror movie poop. The teaser alone was like, that was scary when the first time I saw it, but then the more they keep advertising it, and then the trailer came along, it's like, okay, so this is just another generic, demon haunting type horror movie, and the jump scares felt very predictable, it felt flat, and honestly, towards the end, I fell asleep, but then I wake up, like, towards, like, when they finally killed the demon, so, yeah, like, if I, like, the moment I sleep in a horror film, that's how I know it's just bad, so yeah, that's why this movie is on my number 13 spot. At number 12 spot, I give it to The Breadwinner. I mean, at times it's funny, but then again, at times it feels like those type of like comedy movies that you see like in the early 2000s, and it's just like, yeah, it almost feels very outdated. The story's alright. The acting, obviously, like, the adults act very childish. I never liked that. It kind of pisses me off when I see movies like these. The comedian, I'm not really familiar with his works. I don't really find him funny so far. So, yeah, that's why I put it on my number 12 spot. At the number 11 spot goes to The Devils Wear Prada 2. The actresses in this movie obviously do a good performance. They do a good job, but it's like one of those movies that just doesn't really need a sequel. It didn't really add much. The first movie, I think it was okay at best, but the second one, it doesn't really add anything other than, it takes place in 2026. So that's why this movie's at my number 11 spot. At my number 10 spot, I give it to Is God Is. I do like a revenge story. Some revenge stories are good. I also like the fact that that they're trying to go after their father who is evil and stuff like that, but at times there's parts in the movies where it kind of makes me feel I have a difficult time following our main characters, like the twins. I think mainly the older sister, who's like the short one. They're going around trying to kill their evil father. Go out revenge, but at the same time they're basically hurting innocent people. Like, I think at one point in the story, because their evil dad is remarried and also has two kids who happen to be twins, even though they don't look like twins. They go after the wife, who she literally knows nothing about that, and then they kill her, which kind of rubs me the wrong way, because I was like, wait a minute, she did nothing wrong, but yeah, you killed her. This feels like a big misunderstanding. They also killed one of them kills their twin brothers, even though they did nothing wrong. They literally disguise themselves as strippers, and which was really a weird scene. Although towards the end, I did like how, they realized their father's, the younger sister finds out their father's true colors. He's actually an evil person, so they actually killed him. And also another thing I don't like, where they always keep referring, the twin girls referring their mom as God, which I'm like, as someone who is a believer of God, I really don't like that idea of just calling someone God because they birthed you. I was like, first of all, no, that doesn't really work that way. The comedy is funny at times. I do like how one scene where they do make fun of like those overly religious people. I would say that was the funny part. There are some funny times, but then again, I feel like the story could have like it does have questionable moments, and the motives of the girls kind of I feel very questionable. So it is good, but then again, it could have been fixed. There's some things that should have been fixed or removed, so that's why I put it at my number 10 spot. At my number 9 spot, I put In the Gray. I actually love the action scenes. I really like how they even shot some scenes like even the practical sets or even the real sets. But other than that, it almost The story is good. Their acting's good too. It's just like most of the time it feels like it drags. Mainly they're just like performing like their plan, and also they're just more talking and talking. Doing lawyer stuff, money stuff, and but it's just the action is the only part that kept me engaged with the movie. So I just put this at my number 9 spot. There's really nothing much to say about that. I mean, yeah, just watch it. I mean, I don't know if it's in theaters anymore, but yeah, it's an okay film. At the number 8 spot, I gave it to Pressure. I like how this movie is based on a true story about D-Day, but it's not about the soldiers in D-Day. It's more specifically about the people trying to predict the weather for D-Day. And I mean, like in The Gray, yeah, it's mainly just like talking and figuring out what's the big plan. But I think their performance here is a little more better in this movie, especially Brandon Fraser. Brandon Fraser for me like steals the show for this movie. He's such a good actor, and also I do like the other actor how he like his performance is really good. I also like how they explain like how the weather is going to affect during the war during D-Day. So that's why I put this movie at my number 8 spot. At my number 7 spot, I give Hokum. It's a really decent horror film. I honestly, there's times where I also like there's scary moments. I like the performance in this movie. It's rare to see like good acting in like horror films because you don't really have to be a good actor. But in this one, I forgot the actor's Adam Scott. Yeah, he does a really good job. What I do love about what this movie does is that it almost feels like one of those like those indie horror video games where you play and you're trying to find clues and stuff. Like that's what I like what Hokum does. So yeah, that's why I give this at my number 7 spot. At my number 6 spot, The Sheep Detectives. This is a really good family movie. I actually enjoyed watching this, especially like the voice performances for the sheeps. I like how they start investigating on their own to like what happened to their owner. Just like the breadwinner, obviously we have like human adults acting like a bunch of children, while the women are the ones that act the smart ones, which is sexist in my opinion. But then again, I do love like this comedy. This is a really good comedy movie for families, and I also think like families will also enjoy this movie. I also like how it has like some certain themes about forgetting and trying to like embrace like like trying to forget about the past, letting go, or lying to about people. I mean, not that I'm saying that's a good thing, but more like just trying to lie to like sort of like save people's innocence. Yeah, it has some really good themes surrounding this movie. So yeah, that's why I give this movie at my number 6 spot. At my number 5 spot, I give I Love Boosters. This movie is so strange, funny, and weird, and it's so funny. You really have to watch it in order to like believe what I'm talking about. Like at first the movie was basically about just a bunch of chicks, going around stealing like or boostering a bunch of clothes, stealing from like high product stores, until now things just went very sci-fi-ish. Like they got introduced to this Asian character who has like a teleport machine, and then they start using that to like start teleporting clothes, but then later and also we got like cartoonish moments where like how the characters act. Yeah, the performances from like all the actresses and like the characters, it's really funny. There's certain running gags going around throughout the entire movie. So yeah, I mean that's why I give this movie at my number 5 spot. At my number 4 spot, I give Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. Again, as someone who's not a Star Wars fan, a non-Star Wars fan, I really enjoy this movie. And I know there's a bunch of people saying around like, oh, Star Wars is dead. Oh, this movie fell at the box office. I mean, yeah, that may be true because, Obsession obviously beat them at the box office, which, don't worry, I'll get to that later. Obsession. This is a really good movie, as a non-Star Wars fan. Yeah, 4 syllables or something. Whatever people say. This is a really good movie. I love the soundtrack, the practical effects, the VFX, the performances from every character, and especially Pedro Pascal, because Hollywood wants to let us know that, yeah, Pedro Pascal is in the movie. I really enjoy this movie. And look, even for someone even if you're not a non-Star Wars fan, you should go watch it. You'll probably like it. I mean, the show was cool, and I think this is even better. The soundtrack's even cool. The soundtrack is what, I really liked about the movie. So yeah, that's why I give this movie at my number 4 spot. Yeah, 4. At my number 3 spot, Back Rooms. You know, now that I escaped from the back rooms, which is why I'm filming this video today, this movie is also just a really great horror film, especially created by the guy who literally created the series on YouTube. And this movie alone, such a good movie. I love how the actors act in this movie. Like, this movie also proves why that horror movies can also have good acting. The story is just crazy. The found footage style scenes are the scariest part in my opinion for me, because you know it's just only one shot and you can't even know what's gonna happen. I mean, the only disappointing part about this movie is that obviously this movie does leave off a cliffhanger, and it just kind of makes you wonder what's going on. You literally have to watch one of those analyzing videos to know what the whole meaning's about. But I'm like, I don't care, because I just love the horror in general, especially in watching this in Dolby. You're going to really have a good time watching this. So that's why I give this movie at my number 3 spot. At my number 2 spot, Mortal Kombat 2. This movie was pure fan service. It literally does justice to the games. Unlike the 80s or 90s movies, This one is like pure fan service. Watching it in the IMAX screen, like the choreography, the fight scenes were the best part of the movie. Their acting obviously is it comes off as corny and cheesy, but then again, it's a video game adaptation. It doesn't need to be serious. I love the gore, the violence, the gore in the movie was perfect. The comedy is also spot on. I love the performances from each actor that does justice for the character. I'd say this is even better than the first movie. The only shitty part is that obviously in the first movie, our main character, I forgot his name. But I do know that he is, related to Scorpion. But in this movie, they killed him off. It's like, I mean, he was sort of important to the story, so it's like it didn't feel really fair to kill him off. The big guy, who plays Shao Kahn, does a really good job for someone who's buff and big, because mostly buff and big people don't have good range actors. It's mainly just, I'm big and I'm gonna fight you. But no, he does well as Shao Kahn. So, I put this movie on my number 2 spot. And finally, for my number 1 spot of May 2026, is gotta be Obsession. This is down the best horror film so far of 2026, alongside with movies like Backrooms and Undertone. This is just a really good horror film. I love the acting from the actress. I forgot to wrote it down again. The actress who plays the girl, Freaky Nikki, because that's her name throughout the entire movie. She does a good performance. She literally kills or steals the entire show. I was literally saying this, and I forgot to mention this in my review of Obsession. Her acting is basically like Nicolas Cage if Nicolas Cage was a woman on her period. That's what her acting kind of gives off. The story is crazy. Obviously, the guy makes a wish, and she starts doing crazy things for him to love, to love him. Our side characters that were in the movie, they get killed off by her, and he kills himself in order to end the curse. And now she goes back to normal, but it just leaves off just her, screaming and crying while her friend sees her dead friends, and we just see the roll credits. I'm really down to see what's next for this franchise, because obviously the creator, he says that he would like to do an anthology series, which I'm like, that would be cool. I mean, obviously, because we can have so much stories to explore. I wish for this, I wish for that. But in my opinion, I really would like to see a sequel, an Obsession 2 with this. But it would be kind of cool to see if this time if the genders were reversed, it's the girl that does the wish on the boy, But yeah, Obsession, number 1, the best horror film of May, just alongside with Undertone. I'm gonna keep mentioning Undertone throughout the entire year of horror films. So yeah, that's the running gag or theme around horror films. So just a reminder of the rankings. Number 13, Passenger. Number 12, Breadwinner. Number 11, The Devils Wear Prada 2. Number 10 is God Is. Number 9, In the Gray. Number 8, Pressure. Number 7, Hokum. Number 6, The Sheep Detectives. Number 5, I Love Boosters. Number 4, Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. Number 3, Backrooms. Number 2, Mortal Kombat 2. And number 1, Obsession. So yeah, this is my list of ranking May 2026 movies to worst to best. I want to tell you guys a story. I think it was one of these movies, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I forgot. I will say 2 weeks ago. 3. When I was just getting off the movie theater, I was just going to go unchain my bike. This was like 12 in the morning. And I remember this lady, approaches me, from the dark, almost kind of creepy, by the way. She goes up to me and saying, "Hey, how you doing?" It's like, I'm good, So she's asking me, like, "Do you think should I go home?" I'm like, yeah. What do you mean? I'm not your fucking parent. But But then I kept asking her more questions, like, well, what movie do you watch? She watched Michael Jackson. Good movie, by the way. And she told me that, she was saying a bunch of stuff. But then I asked her, like, are you drunk? And she said, yeah. I was like, oh, that explains why she watched Michael Jackson. It's because, you got to be drunk in order to watch a good movie. And which also explains why she was, next to me, because, the cops were literally surrounding the entire parking lot, because I thought it was just a bunch of group of people, just standing out there, and I thought she was scared. I was like, or has social anxiety, but no, she was scared because she was drunk and she noticed that a bunch of cops were surrounding the parking lot. Her car was there. So obviously someone, as me, I don't have car license, so I can't help her with that. So instead I did help her an Uber. So I was like, and I was able to get her an Uber and, to drive her back home while I go home with my bike. So yeah, that was like the first experience I've ever had with someone who's drunk and I had to help. And I mean, there is no moral to the story. I mean, is there a moral to the story? Fuck it. I guess there is a moral to the story. Never get drunk at midnight, because then you're kind of a burden to other people who are not drunk. That's kind of the conclusion of the month. So, well, that's going to be today's ranking of movies 2026 video. So make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon up there. Make sure to follow me on my Instagram page called Thunderstruck1810. This is Angel Esquivel here, and as always,
by the way, you're gay.